In my last video, we spoke a lot about gameplay details that are going to be coming to Battlefield 5, and if you want to see that video, it's in the description. But as we continue with more details, we got to see a trailer, and a lot of things have been shown in this trailer that you might have missed for Battlefield 5 and things that we are going to experience in the gameplay. First off, we notice there are holes, micro-destruction that happen in the building. And we also see destruction of the building and how much it has improved when the tanks go through it. If you guys remember previous titles, tanks could not even go through most buildings. It just kind of hit it and stopped. Tanks look like they can go through buildings now, and the destruction of it is much more detailed, and you notice pieces of the building hanging before it falls. But furthermore, you got to look at the part where bullets actually penetrate the wall. Now, can we do this in multiplayer? Was this a scripted event? I'm not too sure, but what I do know is LMGs and the support weapons are able to penetrate specific material. I managed to sit down with one of the devs and get some feedback, ask him some questions, a lot of things they couldn't speak about just yet, and they kept hinting at, wait till EA Play. You get to try this out and see what it's like. Now, I am going to go check it out at EA Play and get some more juicy details, but what I do know is that the machine guns, the LMGs, and whatnot can shoot through walls. Not every gun can do this. The LMGs are the ones that are going to be experiencing the best effect of this. Support seems to be really buffed up in Battlefield 5 because we've already spoke about how they're going to be the ones that have much more things they can fortify in fortifications. Now, obviously, I was asking nitpicky questions to try to get some really good juicy details on what the extent of gunplay is. And most of all, I wanted to know how the spread is going to be, how the guns are going to play. Are we going to have horrible recoil spread? Like when you take a shot where you aim your first shot, a skill targeted shot, am I going to have spread like we've seen in Battlefield 1 where I have to spray until it tightens up and you can finally hit your target? And from what I understand, that is all changing. We're going to have predictable, understandable recoil patterns. You heard right. So now when you shoot at a target, you're going to have it predictable. And the way it's going to work is that in the first 3 or so bullets, it's consistently the same. So you can learn weapons, you can adapt to gun plays that you enjoy, but the cool thing is, not every weapon is going to be the same. So if you're the type that just loves to spray and pray, well, there's weapons for you that can do that. If you're the type that loves to burst, there's weapons for you like that. If you're the type that likes a gun that's all round between tapping, bursting, and spraying, it's there for you, but you will not be punished like Battlefield 1 for tapping. You will be rewarded for tapping because of that skilled accuracy. It's going to be recoil now. So now all you have to do is learn the recoil patterns in order to control it. And from what I understand, if you are going to spray with these type of guns that have really good accuracy, you end up having the first 3 bullets accurate or so, and then after that it becomes getting a little bit more of spread involved into it. Ultimately, you're now able to master weapons, and somebody new to the game isn't going to have a hard time getting into the game. They're going to get weapons that are all round and pretty easy to use. You know, it works on any situation where somebody's skilled. They can get into a little bit more of the mastering traits, somebody who's put a lot of hours into it, and in that case, they'll be able to design the type of weapon that they want and use that for their factor of winning in the game. Another cool thing that is coming to Battlefield 5, you are now able to crouch and run. In previous titles, the best you could do was crouch and kind of walk around in a crouch position. Now you can even run in a crouch position. They have overhauled the entire movement system. It's completely different. They took it right out and changed it. You're able to slide now like you were in Battlefield 1, which they've adapted and fixed it so not everybody's just sliding all over the place, which is a crouch slide, but they've also brought in a prone slide, which we got to see in the trailer, and it is balanced. So the cool thing about this is they've also made it that you can shoot when you jump, but try to understand this because it seems a little bit complicated, but the idea is where your gun is where your bullet's going to go. At the apex of your jump, that is when you're going to be able to shoot, and when you're falling down, you're going to be able to shoot. So if you fall off a ledge or something, you can shoot on the way down. You're going to be a little bit inaccurate, but you can still do it. You can even do the prone slide shoot. It will be a little bit inaccurate, but obviously when you stop moving, you'll be more accurate. I decided to ask questions about this, to ask, will I have inaccuracy from moving, or when I stand still, will I be more accurate, and so on and so forth, between will I be accurate when I'm prone, or when I'm crouched, will I be a little bit more accurate as opposed to standing up and shooting. these things are things that they are looking into. Now with the prone slide that we got to see with the LMG, you're able to throw yourself to the side, you can move back, you can even backpedal and shoot. In previous titles like Battlefield 3, when you proned close to a wall, your legs stuck out of the wall. Well, now your legs will be in front of you when you're in a corner. The body moves in a new, different way. And in Battlefield 4, what we saw was when you prone near a wall, instead what would happen was the wall would push you forward so you're not having your feet going through the wall. And sometimes that could cause you to fall off buildings because you were so close to a wall, or just threw you out into the open and you couldn't shoot. Now it changes. Now the player moves his body in a way so that his legs are in front of him while his head is on the wall, and he's shooting prone in that way. And any way he turns, his body adapts in that movement. It is very fluid. They really did overhaul the movement in Battlefield 5. The extent of all of this is still yet to be found out, but they've brought in new movements that you can do. And speaking of new movements, in the trailer, I'm sure everybody has seen this and beat it to death. You can now pick up grenades and throw them back. But not only that, they've even looked into being able to grab a grenade that is being thrown your way and throw it back before it even hits the ground. Kind of like playing catch in baseball or something. The guy throws the ball your way, catch the ball and throw it right back at him. In this case, it'll be a grenade. Catch that grenade and throw it right back at him. You are now able to do that. That's something they're looking into. Speaking of other things that are going to be coming to Battlefield 5, it's the environment and how the player moves through it. You actually get to see the environment adapting to the player's movements. And that kind of sounds weird, but realistically, what I want you to understand is in third person, when the people are running around and watching, you can see that your teammates are kind of moving their feet up in the water if they're in muddy water, or you can see the grass moving and adapting to their movement. Before, all of it was kind of static. Now the player is moving and adapting to it. And even when he runs up to cover, you see his body hit the cover and kind of take cover in that sense. Whereas in first person, you don't get that wobbly effect in your camera. You play like you would normally. But in third person, people watching would see these really cool animations happen. They've upped the details. And this means the environment has an effect on you. Well, when a V1 rocket comes in and blows up, there's a shockwave, and you know what that means. You're gonna go flying, just like you saw in the trailer when all those players started flying. That was not a scripted event. That is something that is actually gonna happen in multiplayer. When somebody calls in that rocket and it blows up and that shockwave happens, people are gonna go flying. I've decided to ask them questions regarding the extent of this. What happens when a tank hits a wall? There's gonna be a shockwave. What about when a grenade goes off? There's gonna be a shockwave. Will players be affected by it? Their answer was, it's something they're looking into and deciding on how to fix it properly. They don't want it to be too jarring and take you out of the experience. They want you to have a fun experience and have it as enjoyable as possible with all the cool effects and things happening. Obviously, if a V1 goes off, that should have a shockwave effect. But as we all know, Battlefield is known for people throwing lots of dynamite and explosives and grenades all over the place, so you don't want it to be too jarring when there's a lot of explosions going off, so they might kind of tone that down. Now, while we're on the topic about the environment affecting a player, what about the Ragdolls? They even went that far as affecting the Ragdolls. Remember in previous titles when you die and your buddy revives you, it kind of feels like you get this sucked effect where you move from one area to another and get revived? Well, now this is server side, meaning your body, wherever that Ragdoll goes, you're going to be there when you get revived, and it has some weight to it. So if the environment changes and shockwaves go off, that Ragdoll is going to be moving, and it will react with the environment. And we actually got to see that in the trailer, where when the plane hit the player and the Ragdoll kind of moved and reacted with the environment. That's exactly what is going to be happening in the multiplayer. Ultimately, from what they've said, everything you have seen in this trailer is something that you're going to see and experience in the multiplayer of Battlefield 5. So there is a lot of details that you need to pay attention to. And speaking of which, we spoke about fortifications before and how crazy and detailed it's going to be and how you can adapt your battlefield to match your needs. Well, guess what? We got to see it right there. Them building sandbags as the battle was commencing. That is fortification and what it's going to look like in Battlefield 5 as we continue, but that is only a bit of fortification because that is only the sandbag. We didn't get to see the resupply station, we didn't get to see the foxholes that you could build, or the LMGs that you could have built on top. But what we did also get to see is the vehicle towing and anti-air across the battlefield. So yeah, you can tow these things and drop them off at positions that you want to have them at and build fortifications around it like we mentioned before, but now we got to see it in action here. Now obviously this has been a lot of information to digest, but the last thing I want to mention before I leave it here and ask you guys if you want to get more details. Just leave a like it down below and comment if you want more details. The last thing I want to mention before I end this off is the female character. A lot of people have been going crazy, going, oh my goodness, a female character. There are female snipers in World War II, but not only that, you are able to customize your character in Battlefield 5. If you want to play like a female character, by all means go ahead. You want to play like a male character, you can do that. It's not locked to it. You can customize your soldiers. And we noticed she had a claw in her hand, and I asked, this looks like I'm gonna have poor grip, poor hold on my weapon. I'm gonna have increased recoil, wouldn't I? I mean, it's a claw, there's no grip to the gun. And from what I understand, cosmetics are strictly just cosmetics. They have no effect on gameplay. They're just visual. So yeah, you can look pretty awesome. So with that, I'm gonna leave it here, let you guys digest these details. And if you guys want more details, I've got so much more. And with that, I wanna say thank you for clicking subscribe to keep updated with the details that I'm gonna be giving your way, as well as gameplay in the future. And I'm gonna catch you guys later.